Welcome, everybody. John Zegar, johnzegar.com. How's everybody doing today? Good? Good. First cup of coffee, first couple sips of coffee. Tastes really good. I let it cool down a little bit before I started drinking it. Out of the gym, cleaned up, took care of all the athletic issues that needed to be tended to. I don't know. What would you call this? Partly cloudy? There's some clouds up there, but they don't look like rain clouds. There's no rain predicted for today. And I'm slapping at mosquitoes inside of my truck. That's not such a good deal, huh? So, I'm going to move around a little bit in the parking lot here. Find a little shadier spot to sit and talk with you. I wanted to have a little conversation about being impoverished. You know what I mean by that? I wanted to have a conversation about America seems to have a fair amount, a significant amount of impoverished people. The other thing I mentioned in my opening statement there was, it's kind of like the impoverishment of America in the morning. I'm going to turn the heat on here just for a second. I know that's loud, and I'll turn it off there. But, so I'm up early. I don't know. I get up sometimes at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I'm usually gone by 4:30 or thereabouts. And I'm out and about. I'm headed to the gym. I'm going to get cleaned up. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. There's a lot of things that you can get done early in the morning before the crowd comes out. The people going to work and doing stuff like that, taking their kids to school and whatnot. So I get around a lot in the morning. Morning time seems to be, I do some shopping in the morning actually as well. And there's nobody out on the streets. Very few people out driving. I mean, sometimes there's nobody up and down Main Street. There's no cars. This might be, 4:15, 4:30. Normally it's bumper to bumper, right? But a lot of the time there's just nobody out there. But when you get off the beaten path and you head to the Walmart parking lots and Walmarts, for instance, there's a lot of slow walkers. You understand what I mean by that when I say slow walkers? At one point, I was criticized for being a slow walker. And slow walkers are people that are dejected. Slow walkers are people that are down on their luck. Slow walkers are the impoverished. slow walkers might be the ones that slept out, if there's any grass, against a building and might have had a blanket to try to stay warm, maybe a sleeping bag. Slow walkers are the ones, I noticed this yesterday morning, I didn't talk about it, but down near the social service area of town, where they go to get various subsidies, sign up for food stamps or sign up for some kind of housing or emergency money or utilities, or I don't even know what the hell they sign up for, to tell you the truth. But out in front of the street there, early in the morning, and nobody goes out to look at this, but it exists. There's a block. There's one block. Now think about it. A block's a pretty long length, right? And put a person in a sleeping bag, not necessarily a good sleeping bag, just an old beat up bag. I'm going to turn that off. But imagine people lying out on, that grassy little area before the street and before the sidewalk. There's kind of a strip of grass that's about a block long, most everywhere. Imagine putting as many sleeping bags shoulder to shoulder with a person in each one of them. Those are slow walkers. And I parked a little bit down the block and across the street, and I sort of paid attention and watched and made mental notes of what I was observing, right? And what I deducted was they wake up how would I put it, when there's just the first hint of some light, and they're disoriented somewhat, it would appear, and there's no facilities to wash your face or brush your teeth or a mirror to comb your hair, let alone toilets. It's, in a sense, it's repulsive. In another sense, it's very, very disparaging. It's sad. And then there's the trek. They somehow seem to collect what little bit there is there. Maybe a sleeping bag and a coat and, I don't know, a purse or something. They kind of bundle it up, and they either have a cart from a store somewhere or some kind of a backpack. Some contrapted way to carry their belongings. And the march is on for example, Walmart, where I think a lot of homeless people go for the toilets that are available there. The bathrooms at Walmart's, and I can only speak of where I live, but they're beyond being trashed out. There's graffiti all over the wall because the homeless people are angry. The staff of Walmart's need to keep somebody constantly working and cleaning the restrooms. They don't do that. You probably don't want to go in and use a restroom at Walmart. But anyway, that's where the slow walkers sort of single file head to after they get oriented and up and packed and moving. I don't see anybody with food, although there are those people that I've noticed in the store that might have some change from the day before, buying maybe a pop if it's cheap enough, or something with sugar, a rolls, donuts, I don't know, just, you know how you can get those packs of tuna for, what are they, 94 cents or 92 cents at Walmart. I don't even see anybody buying that. I mean, that's protein, right? That would be better than a donut. I don't see anybody doing that. If people are interacting with one another, maybe trying to make a joke or uplift the mood somehow, it's about maybe not so pleasant things that they would talk about. You can kind of use your own imagination with that. But impoverishment in the mornings in America. Now, contrary to that, in the morning, I usually get my gas in the morning. So I, living in lack for, don't know, 15 plus years probably, you know, I try to think of where did I see cheap gas at the night before. And there is no more cheap gas. There is no more of that. Gas goes up, it seems like every day it's higher than it was yesterday. I'm going to make a connection here if you want it to pay attention and see if this is relevant to your thinking or not. But neuroscience talks about our lives, our realities, are the results of our thoughts. You've all heard that before. It's been plastered everywhere that what you think is what you become. The friends you hang out with are what your life turns out to be. Just generally those sorts of things result in how your life goes and the reality that you live. So you might want to say, they create their own catastrophes. They create their own reality and what they have and what they don't have. And if they're impoverished or living in lack, then that's the result of what they've been thinking for a while. And it now has manifested itself in what I'm describing this morning to you guys. And then there's the second part of that, which is the judgment. And why are these people judged? You ever notice that some people are really judgmental about poor people? I've experimented with this even myself, where if somebody doesn't know me but has an interest in, wanting to hang out or have conversation or have lunch or whatever, when you get talking about who you are to the new person, and if you talk about, I've been living in lack for 15 years, you're kind of shunned and cast out, and they generally don't reapproach you again to try to build on a relationship. They've already concluded a preconceived outcome. They've already expressed their prejudice. There's a part of this whole conversation that is true. Your thoughts have a lot to do with the way your life goes. Even more importantly than that is your program that you were taught as a child by the adults is what your life becomes. We've been through an awful lot of conversations and examples about that. If you saw lack as a little child growing up, you're going to identify with living your life in lack as you grow up and become an adult, and your life becomes impoverished to some degree, maybe more or less. Step away from that and you have your personality, which is the result of your programming. And your personality might be that of, an angry person. And you can kind of take the negative connotations off of that and expand on it, but did they grow up to become angry, bitter people? Is that where they were going when they became conscious? Above the childhood stuff of programming, say like by 9, 10, 11, you become conscious and start living out your program. Well, did these little people choose or say, I'm going to be impoverished, bitter, and angry at the world? I don't know. Sounds like programming to me. But nonetheless, they become impoverished, angry, and bitter at the world. And they end up sleeping in an old, tattered sleeping bag against the curb on a street somewhere. And find their bathrooms in Walmart. The United States, America, is not moving away from that, but they're moving more into that. In a lot of ways, we are a third world country. And the people did not wake up one day and say, that's how I'm going to live my life. And the country I live in encourages me to have this impoverished mentality. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. This is a conversation on a podcast that you probably don't want to listen to. This is a conversation on a podcast where most podcasts don't go. This is why I don't have 1,000 people following me. I'm not the Tony Robbins or the Jake Duceys. Or the Dr. Joes that talk about hope and the future and creating a future. They skip this part and they go right to, the solutions. Here's what you need to be doing in order to, have a more fulfilling, rich, rewarding, prosperous life. Well, everybody and their brother's going to jump on that bandwagon. I mean, I do that myself. and I understand it, and it makes sense, and it's logical. But I'm pretty much sure that this has to be understood before you can go to the next level. There's a lot of people that look the other way. When they see the impoverished people in their towns, in America, on the news, on TV. There's a lot of people that give the politicians that govern the country, that do nothing to enhance the success of these impoverished people. They just, it's kind of like God. People generally will make excuses for God when tragic things happen. That's a fact. That's a fact. God generally doesn't come and help people. God generally does dastardly deeds to people and kills them. So God has a part in this process of impoverishment. There's the whole concept of negative thinking, collective consciousness by the world, 8 billion people that affect these people laying in tattered sleeping bags along the curb gutter. That's one. Okay. There's religion or Christianity or what have you, where all of these people talk a great story about their Lord and Savior. But what are they doing? What are they doing to help those people sleeping on the curbs year-round? What are they doing? What are they doing to get rid of the politicians that are making the laws, that are creating the obstacles for the impoverished people? What are those better than you and I people doing? Number one, they turn their face the other way. They don't look at reality when they drive by it. They don't address it. They don't talk to it. They don't figure out a solution to it. They make excuses, like they make excuses for God. God's a contributing factor to this. Absolutely. You ever go into a church today and compare it to when you were a little kid growing up? I recall churches were for the poor and needy, and how can we get them closer to God and in a better life. That might be, having clothes contributed in the church, and they're free to come and take clothes. It might be maybe some of the collection, which they don't do anymore. Some of the collection might be used for these people. I don't know. Maybe there's some of them that have babies or something that need some money for formula. Maybe some of these people just need $1 to get a pouch of tuna for 92 cents. Maybe the church has something to do with helping with housing. I don't know. But it's not being addressed. Elon Musk is a saint and needs to be canonized now. His entire life, you don't have to make it up, just go read about his life. His entire life is about enhancing the survivability of civilization and humanity. Being of service for the greater good. You that are listening to me are probably not. No, I take that back. Are clearly not that caliber. I absolutely believe the people that are listening to this, and I don't care if you shut it off. Because you're doing nothing. Making excuses for the church, making excuses for God, making excuses for Christianity is bullshit. Figuring out how to put together a group, figuring out how to support a person that could get involved politically and help the decision-making process in building laws for the betterment of these people. Here, listen to this one. Elon Musk now has, and I'm not going to go into the detail because there's so many options he's made available. There are some people impoverished that might and could foresee a future with housing. Elon Musk lives in a container house. I think his is a really nice one. And I recall him saying it was in the 40,000 range. He now has on the market housing available to anyone in America. Nice homes. He's had the plans engineered, and they're now in production everywhere in America. You can buy these homes for $20,000. They're beautiful. A person might say they're not impoverished if they're living in a home indoors. His cars, Tesla, he has now developed, designed, engineered his latest model so that everybody can afford a car, and they're under $20,000. You know, cars are $40, $50, $60, $80, $100,000. He now can sell cars for $20,000. What are you doing? What are you doing today? Church is not in that stupid ass building that they lock up after Mass, because you might steal something. 1, 2, you might go in there to warm up or cool off. You understand? The church is not what it used to be. It's not there to take care of the needy. What are you doing? Are you active politically by going to city council meetings? You know, voicing an opinion. You don't have to argue. You don't have to get mad. But your opinion matters. Are you going down to social services and trying to have some representation for the impoverished? Or, here's what makes me throw up. This makes me throw up. Literally, throw up. I know a guy who goes to the food bank who figured a con out. And he got everybody and their brother to sign their food. What do they get? Food? I don't know. You go down and you get food or something at some place. And you can take bags of groceries home for the needy, right? His house is filled, every single room, with food that he stole from the city, from the county, from you, from me. And here's the sad part, he's let most of it rot. It's a drug-infested, insect, bug, rodent-infested house. And he continues to go to the food bank and get eons and eons of food under the pretense that he's picking it up for other people. Bullshit. He's a guy who says he works for God. He works for the devil. He had a couple other brothers, and they were as bad and probably worse than he is. And all three will go straight to hell. Doesn't have a Bible. Has a book that he writes the answers in. I am appalled that there's people like him that cannot contribute to another human being. He will lie, cheat, and steal eye to eye with you. And sometimes I sit with him just to watch the sinfulness come out. I don't say anything. He doesn't know why I'm sitting there smiling, laughing, having a good time with him. He doesn't have the mentality, nor the education, nor the intelligence to even understand what's going on. What are you doing? What are you doing listening to me right now? What are you going to do when I'm done with this podcast in a couple minutes? I understand I've gone too long, and I'll stop it here real quick. What are you doing? Go make a podcast. Go start a podcast. Go start a blog. Go do a YouTube. Go do a Facebook Live. Put your voice out there. It may not be right, but put your voice out there if you're not going to contribute otherwise. Do something. Do something to contribute. God bless everybody. Take care of one another, and I'll look forward to talking to you all again real soon. Thanks a lot. See you. Bye.